that was fast, and I mean really fast. Apparently, Karmelo Anthony's family just got rid of their lawyer, Kim Cole, and I mean they kicked her sorry behind to the curb once people online started exposing the fact that she's been working alongside some organizations that may be corrupt, like the Next Generation Action Network, for example, who is now being accused of all types of things, possible money laundering, tax evasion, you name it. Now, the guy who's the leader of this network is Dominique Alexander. A terrible human being, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. I don't know the guy personally, but I am aware of his criminal record. And he's done some things that just, I don't believe there's any coming back from, including hurting 2-year-old kids. Yes, the guy was arrested for hurting a 2-year-old child. But we'll get into that in just a moment. First, I want to dive right into this information about what's going on with this lawyer. Frisco track meet stabbing. Teen murder suspect retains new attorney. Austin Metcalf was laid to rest during a funeral service today, or Saturday, and his alleged killer retained a new defense attorney. Karmelo Anthony, a 17-year-old student at Frisco Centennial High School, was arrested and charged with the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf. Anthony was previously represented by attorneys Billy Clark and Kim T. Cole. Last week, the law firm released a statement on behalf of the 17-year-old seeking to reduce his $1 million bond. The Clark law firm and Kim Cole Law confirmed to WFAA Saturday that their firm is no longer representing Anthony in any capacity, and that Dallas defense attorney Mike Howard will now represent their former client. The family of Karmelo Anthony has officially retained attorney Mike Howard as lead counsel in Karmelo's legal defense, the Next Generation Action Network announced. We are grateful for the early support from attorneys Billy Clark and Kim Cole, and we continue working to build a strong legal team for the fight ahead. Now, isn't it weird that this Next Generation Action Network, or whatever the hell they call themselves, they're taking the forefront of this case? They've taken it upon themselves to speak for the Karmelo Anthony family. And I don't know for sure, did Karmelo Anthony's family reach out to this group to represent them? Are they paying them? Or did this group approach Karmelo Anthony's family in hopes of exploiting this tragedy and grifting off of what their son did? Because that's what it looks like is happening here. Because if Karmelo Anthony's family went out and got Dominique Alexander and Kim Cole, it lets you know that they're trying to stir up drama. They're trying to stir up trouble. Because that's what Dominique Alexander does. He's the BLM type. He's been responsible for multiple protest riots where cops got killed, all types of stuff. We've exposed a lot of this on a prior video. I would suggest that you guys go check out that video to learn a little bit more about Dominique Alexander and the things that he's accused of, the things that he is guilty of and acknowledges that he's guilty of. I mean, he's got a pretty long rap sheet of some things that I wouldn't want someone doing if they're representing me. You know, I try not to judge people for their past. Everyone makes mistakes. People do things, they grow, I get it. But if you're going to be representing a family like Karmelo Anthony's family in a situation this sensitive, I don't think we need someone who's been arrested for beating up 2-year-olds, representing any family at all, or being an activist at all. Like, if anything, you should have been thrown under the jail a long time ago, but instead you're doing press conferences, trying to get attention and trying to get clout, trying to grift off of tragic situations involving young black men, because that's what Dominique Alexander does. He attaches himself to these situations. He causes chaos. He intimidates witnesses and jurors and all that. And I feel like Karmelo Anthony's family most likely knew that when they reached out to this guy or whenever they agreed to allow this guy to speak for them. So the fact that they hired, or whatever went on, the fact that they had Kim Cole as their lawyer, I think that said a lot too. Because you do that if you want to cause problems. You don't do that because you want the best legal representation. And now that a lot of this information is getting exposed, Kim Cole is out the door. And I'm wondering if Dominique Alexander is next. And apparently this new lawyer that Karmelo Anthony's family got, he's a pretty good lawyer. Way better than Kim Cole and all of these other little activists that are pretending to be lawyers. But I want to just bring you all just a tidbit more information about this Dominique Alexander guy, the guy that's doing press conferences for Karmelo Anthony's family. Because you see, back in, I believe it was 2009, he was first arrested in July of 2009 for causing serious bodily injury to a child. Police reported that he'd been babysitting his girlfriend's 2-year-old son for the evening when he called her at 11 p.m. and told her to get home now. But he didn't tell her why. When she arrived, she found her child unresponsive. Alexander told his girlfriend that he had been watching a movie with her son on the couch. He paused the movie, police reported, and as he walked into the computer room, he heard the sound of her son, who was asleep on the couch, fall off the couch and onto the carpet. But the doctor disagreed with his statement. He examined Alexander's girlfriend's son in the intensive care unit and reported that the child had a subdural hemorrhage between the halves of his brain and the back of the brain. He also had retinal hemorrhages in both eyes. The severity of his injuries is not consistent with rolling off the couch, the investigating officer reported, the doctor saying. The injuries are acute and likely occurred around the time that his girlfriend's son started to have symptoms like being unresponsive. Without more adequate history of trauma, our injuries are more consistent with abusive head trauma and child physical abuse. Alexander claimed that he had taken the child to play in a bounce house that evening at Royal Crest Apartments, but he told the judge, Gracie Lewis, on Friday that he'd taken the child to play in a bounce house the day before. Yet he never reported the bounce house to the doctor or the investigators at the time. On Friday afternoon, the prosecutor read 2 statements that Alexander had signed not long after the incident occurred. In the first statement, he claimed that the child had fallen off the couch. In the second statement, he admitted to shaking the child. He was charged with a first-degree felony. Not long after he was arrested for an injury to a child causing severe bodily harm, he got into trouble for forging a check, leading police on a high-speed chase, stealing a car, and falsely claiming that a car was stolen. Jesus. So here we have a guy who is now representing Karmelo Anthony's family. And this guy has already been charged with hurting a child, shaking the child so hard, beating the child so hard that his brain started hemorrhaging and his eyeballs, his retinas started hemorrhaging. Okay? And this is who is representing Karmelo Anthony. This is the most ideal role model they could find. Another freaking filthy, nasty, disgusting criminal who does horrible things to kids, not even mentioning the fact that he stole someone's car, forged checks, and led police on a high-speed chase. We'll leave all of those details out, but this guy literally almost killed a 2-year-old kid. Went to jail for it. And you know I bring the receipts, we got the police reports, we got everything. So there's no denying that this information is true. It's 100% factual. He won't deny it himself. And then I see people online saying, oh, no, he was charged with disciplining his kid. No, he wasn't. We're talking about something that happened in 2009, not the recent allegations. I'm aware of the more recent allegations. Yeah, I'm aware of those as well. But no, back in 2009, apparently he shook his girlfriend's baby half to death and then lied about it multiple times, gave multiple stories. It's insane. But what do you expect? You see people praising Karmelo Anthony. You see these people praising this killer. They put these killers, these criminals on a pedestal. And they act as if they're holier than thou. As if Dominique Alexander has some sort of moral authority to speak down to anyone, let alone open his mouth just in general, knowing what we know now. So if Carmelo Anthony's family has any integrity, they would kick this guy to the curb as well, just like they did Kim Cole. Because the internet, me, myself, others as well, we're not going to stop looking into this. And I'll be damned if I allow someone like Dominique Alexander to be the leading voice or the leading authority when it comes to this case. Because people like him should shut their mouth and stay in their place and go sit down somewhere and try not to shake any more babies. Instead of sitting up here trying to tell people what they should say, lying about what's actually going on in the case. It's despicable. It's disgusting. But Kim Cole has gotten shown the door, and hopefully Dominique Alexander is next. We'll see. I'll keep my eye on this situation. But for now, you guys, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.